The audition and casting process. An audition at its very fundamental level is a job interview. Basically, it's when an actor, dancer, or performer is trying out for a theatrical, film, commercial, dance, or some other kind of role. An audition opportunity generally comes via an email from your agent. The agent usually sends you an availability inquiry, also known as an availability check, to see if you are available for the shoot date of the gig, also for the callbacks. But audition opportunities can sometimes come via an open call, a casting notice, or even a friend.
I'm about to kill it.
All right. Good luck.
Good luck.
An open call is when a casting director says, "We want to see all interested talent." At an open call, they may ask you to read a monologue, so be prepared for that. And if you show up to an open call and you don't have an agent, you say, "I'm here direct," when they ask you who your agent is. And sometimes an audition is not really an audition, as the client may be booking off of headshots. If that's the case, you submit your headshot per the instructions, and either they like you and they pick you, or they don't. As a general rule, your agent will not call you if you did not get the gig. But there are a couple exceptions to that rule. Number one, they may have put you on hold, meaning that they called you and told you the client is interested in you and please hold these dates, meaning don't book with anybody else because we're holding you for these dates in case we want to book you. Now, if they put you on hold, but then they ended up picking someone else, your agent will call or email you and tell you that you're released. You can release those dates and book with someone else because the client decided to go with someone else. The second exception is if it's a really big job or a really big role and your agent knows that you're just waiting to hear whether you got it. In that case, they may call you and tell you that, that the client or the director decided to go with someone else. The third case is if you have a really close relationship with your agent and they know that you really were interested in this job, then they will probably send you a quick email and tell you that the client decided to go with someone else. So those are the three exceptions to the rule, but in general, if you didn't get the job, they're not going to call you. They only call the people who booked the gig. But if they do call you to tell you that you didn't get the job, be gracious and say, "Thank you for letting me know." And remember, it's been said that there are only 3 answers from the universe for every request. Yes, yes, but you have to wait, or no, because I have something even better. After COVID, self-tapes became the norm for audition submissions. You will find guidelines and instructions for self-tapes in your guidebook. One thing I will recommend is to read the audition invitation carefully, at least 2 times. Once I went to an audition with a casting director, I was prepared with my monologue. But to my dismay, the invite said to be prepared with 2 monologues. So again, it's important to read the invitation carefully. Before COVID, auditions typically took place in a casting director's office. And after people started getting vaccinated, then those in-person auditions started coming back. Basically what happens is that area agents are assigned a fixed number of time slots to fill by the casting directors. Agents then fill those slots with their talent from their agencies who both fit the demographic specs and who they think will have the best chance to book the gig. Remember, talent agents are competing with each other to book the gig so that they can get the commission. The casting directors almost always tape the auditions. It is rare for a casting director not to do so. Generally, when you walk in, the casting director's assistant will direct you to fill out a sign-in sheet. You will find a sample of this sheet in your guidebook. It will typically ask you for your name, stats, signatory, meaning are you SAG, non-union, or FICOR, and whether you have any conflicts with the callback dates or the date of the shoot. The assistant may also mark your time in and time out. Answer all of the questions and take a picture of the callback dates so you can make sure in case something else comes up in your schedule. This is very important because if you go to an audition and the client likes you and wants to see you again in a callback and you can't make the callback, the agent is not going to be happy with you. Why? Because you wasted everyone's time, and more importantly, you wasted her time slot that she could have put another talent in, one that could have made the callback and potentially booked the gig. After you sign the check-in sheet, you take a seat and wait until they call you. And what's important here to understand, and I want to make this clear, is that as soon as you walk in the door, you are on. Understand that. For example, Karen Parsons, who played Hillary on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when she went to the audition, while she was in the waiting room, she was primping herself and looking in the mirror and, making sure that she looked her best. And the casting directors were watching her. And as it turns out, that's exactly the type of person that they wanted for the Hillary role. And she got the part because that's what she was doing in the waiting room. So be cognizant of that as soon as you walk in the door, you're on. Generally, the waiting room is a different room than the room that you will actually be auditioning in. So when you walk into the audition room, you will see the casting director, perhaps an assistant, and in some cases the client representative, or more than one client reps. The producer, the director, artistic director may be there as well. It just depends on the client. And they will always be taping you. The casting director will then send the tapes to the client for their decision-making process. They will then let the casting director know who they want, and they may ask to see you again in a callback. But ultimately, they will give the casting director their decision. But if you didn't make the booking, don't despair. It's just part of the business. So, the casting director, if you got the part, will tell your agent, and then your agent will call or email you to tell you that you booked the gig. So typically, that's how you get cast on a TV show, film, or commercial. There are other ways, however. You can be on extras casting sites and submit yourself. But in short, that is the audition and casting process. One other tip. If you watch a movie that you like, then wait and watch the credits to see who casted it. Sometimes they'll have a Twitter account or website or Facebook page, and you can always reach out and send them a sizzle reel or your photo or your resume link or something and say, I'd love to be considered for future projects. It's not a typical process that works, but who knows? The universe may be on your side. In short, that is the audition and casting process. Now that we've covered that, there are some things that we would like to reiterate. Number 1, don't just arrive on time. Arrive 15 minutes earlier than your call time. Don't arrive any earlier than that because the casting director may have a small office or may not know what to do with you before that time. Whatever you do, don't be late. Number 2, always bring a headshot and resume and keep extras in the trunk of your car. Number 3, turn off your cell phone during an audition or booking. Number 4, do not take extra people like family or friends to an audition or booking unless they were booked along with you. Number 5, don't discuss your rate with other actors. Number 6, if you're really serious about being booked and busy, check your email, voicemail, and social media casting sites frequently. Opportunities can come up and disappear fast. And remember, other actors are hungry for the same opportunities that you are, so they are checking these websites as well. It's easy to miss out if you're not paying attention. Number 7, always confirm and respond to emails from your agents. Make them feel that what they are doing for you is important to you, because it is. Number 8, many agents use casting bases like Actors Access or casting networks. Create profiles on those websites and keep them up to date. Number 9, notify agents with any changes to your contact information, physical appearance, or dates that you will be unavailable. Number 10, thank your agent for getting you booked. And if it's a big job or a very lucrative job, send a note or a small gift to your agent to let them know that you appreciate them. Number 11, some people say that you should never contact the casting director directly. But personally, I don't see any harm in sending a thank you note if they helped get you booked, or even if you send them, as indicated earlier, a quick note to ask them to keep you in mind for future opportunities. Years ago, I did exactly that. I auditioned for a casting director, and I sent her a direct email thanking her for the audition and asking her to keep me in mind for future opportunities. Well, the casting director was irate and called my agent expressing her displeasure in me contacting her directly. And the agent was very upset with me, explaining that they cannot afford to make a casting director angry. So I apologized, but I never forgot that. And over the years, my career began to flourish, and as I began to become more successful and my career began to flourish, I began to get major national ads. I worked on films. I acted in films and directed and produced films. In short, my career began to take off. And that casting director became more and more amenable and friendly to me as my career began to advance. But I still didn't forget. I don't know if this particular casting director has an issue, a personality issue. I don't know what it is. But I had found that communication with the casting directors has made me stand out from the crowd. They all know who I am. And none of them, except for this one casting agent, none of them have ever complained about me sending them a thank you card or sending them a short email. I have even interviewed them. So I don't know if it was a personality thing or what, but here's the lesson. Always treat people the way you want to be treated. That is the age-old golden rule. You always treat people the way you want to be treated. But in this case, it is particularly true in this business because you never know who that person is. You never know where their career is going to take them. You don't know what they're going to do in life. And just like me, they won't forget. So always be kind to people and treat people the way you want to be treated. And I relate this story to you so that you can make your own decision. I always tell my children, always make an educated decision. So after listening to this story, you can make your own decision about whether or not you want to contact a casting director directly. Note, you can also look up contact information on IMDb.